Hello, welcome everyone. I am Victoria Rogers. I am the social media coordinator for Renegade Game Studios, and I am here to walk you through Jam Prep for the first time. We're going to be using Junior Brave's Survival Guide to the Apocalypse, it's powered by a Kids on Bike system. It's very easy. And if you know how to run this game, you know how to run Kids on Bikes, Teens on Space, and the upcoming Kids on Brooms. It's most of the prep is done for you, which is fabulous. And that's what's so great about some of these newer systems that are coming out is they're made so that you can be immersed into the game quickly. You don't have to read 300 pages of crunch if you don't want to. You can just have under 100 pages. This is like 90, how many pages? 93 pages. Kids on Bike is a lot shorter. I believe it's 74. So these are made so that you can go. You don't have to do all the work. Because you know what? Your players do a lot of it. You can get a lot of your prep done with the players during your session 0. So I'm just going to quickly go over a session 0. If you're not familiar with what a session 0 is when you sit down and have an entire session with your players. You don't play the game in this session. This is you go over your safety tools. So your safety tools could be your X card, your lines and veils, or your traffic light system. So what are those things? So the X card is when you have a card that has an X on the table or your virtual table, whichever you're playing with, especially in these times. You feel uncomfortable, you touch the X card, no questions asked. That's the important part. No questions asked. And then you just move on to, you just cut that scene and you go on to the next. Lines and veils are a line is a hard no. Your player just does not want this in the game. It makes them very uncomfortable. And a veil is something that can make you uncomfortable but you don't mind it being in the game as long as it doesn't go into detail. Traffic light system it uses the traffic light system. So you have red, yellow, or green. And that is the red is like the X card. It says no. Someone holds up the red and says no, this is a line territory for me, and be prepared. It might be a line that someone realized they didn't have until that moment. So lines and veils are always going to change. And then you can have the yellow light, and the yellow light is going to say we are approaching a veil, and we should fade to black on this scene and go into the next. Green light is I'm having a great time. I may look grumpy, but that's because I'm role playing and I'm just really into it. And what's great about the traffic light system is everyone in the game, it's constantly being used. So if you see some body language on someone and you think they might be uncomfortable, you can hold up the yellow item and point at it and them and be like, are you okay? Are we? And then they can put up the green one to say, oh, no, I'm cool. I'm just into this. I'm having a grand old time. Or they could hold up the yellow and be like, yeah, I'm uncomfortable. Let's fail this. So you go over those. And then next, you would do your character creation. And in a game like Junior Braves, character creation is going to also help tell you about what kind of game you're going to be playing. We're not going to go into character creation here because that's something you'll do with your players. And you don't really have to prep for that. And just understanding how character creation is done. So you just read that chapter and you're good to go. And it's a very short chapter because the system is very streamlined. And then we go to town creation. Now, town creation for a game like this, and the same with Kids on Bikes or Teens in Space, that is something that you're going to do with your players. You'll decide, okay, we will have the clinic here. And you draw a map of your area and like, oh, the clinic's here, the post office is there, the library is here, the school is there, and mom and pa's pop shop is over here. And that's something you'll do together, and you'll build your town together. But where we come in now as the GM, this is when it starts to get going a little bit into the nitty gritty, but it's super easy, I promise you. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be doing an interactive workshop. So I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions. I'm going to be asking a lot of you from chat to suggest things, and we are going to vote on some polls. The poll only works if you're on desktop, unfortunately, just so you're aware. All you have to do is the circles will pop up with the names of the different things that we want to do. And you just click on the circle that you want to vote for. There is a slight delay, so if it looks like your vote didn't go through, don't worry. It did. There's just a delay. And again, it only works for desktop. It unfortunately doesn't work for mobile. Okay, let's get to this. So we have themes. Let's go into this. Now, when I create my GM document, I'm creating it exactly the way you can see it here. I like to do everything just like as an outline, and it just flows a lot nicer for that way. So, and then it also allows me to, oh, there we go. So we would have character creation, like I said, if I can type, town creation. And now we go into themes. Now, this is something you might want to do with your players, because themes can be something that maybe might approach a line or veil for something. But you can also do this yourself. Is because once you had your session 0, you found out what your players want and what your players don't want, what type of tone of game they want, and all that kind of stuff. So you notice that I am going to put in my outline, because I'll print this outline up or I'll bring my laptop to my game, I'm going to put actual notes in here for me, along with page numbers. Because then once I am in the session with my players, I can have a quick reference. You can also put sticky notes on. So many of my games have little tabs and sticky notes sticking out through all of them, just so I can have quick access for when I have to look something up. Because that's something that I really, 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 really want to stress with everyone is you don't need to know the book inside and out to GM. In fact, you could have just read it once and be a great GM. It doesn't matter how much you know the system, because everything that you need to know is right here. It's right here in this book. All you need to do is have an imagination and be willing to go along with what your players come up with, especially on a more narrative-driven game like Junior Braves of the Apocalypse. So, for themes, in this game and in a lot of any of the Kids on Bikes games, there are themes that you can all choose from. So we are going to choose one together. I've taken out some of them from this, because our our poll system only allows a certain amount of options. We'll do 4. And also, I think just we don't need to talk about pandemics, because the apocalypse for this game is often about mutants or zombies or weird things that are happening. And you know what? That's kind of close to home for us right now. So I'm not going to suggest that one. But here are some options. Extinction. The arrival of something new and powerful has pushed humanity to the brink. Whether aliens, angels, or squamous horrors, these are forces beyond your understanding. So, example, some touchstones, some media touchstones for these would be Dominion, The Strain, The Leftovers, Silent Hill, Colony, Falling Skies, Independence Days, Mars Attacks, or War of the Worlds. So those are some media touchstones that kind of give the idea of what this theme would be. So Desiree's going to run the poll for us. So extinction is one of them. We have mystery, alternate realities, mirror universes, dimensional rifts, and surreal paradoxes might sound great to a science geek, but outside of its controlled laboratory conditions, they could bring society to its knees. Even if this new world appears harmless, nothing is what it seems. So you could have 12 Monkeys, Nowhere Boys, Wonderland, Primeval, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. I haven't seen that in forever. Naked Lunch, humanity has declined. So, mystery. Then we have singularity as another option. Speaking of the fears of Luddites everywhere, what happens when our technological achievements turn against us? What would a sentient internet be able to do with a meme addicted humanity? We kind of already are, but that's another statement. How aware are people with just how much of their lives depend on computers? So examples are Revolution, Terminator, Tron, The Matrix, Transcendence, Colossus, The Forbin Project, and another film that I've never heard of and I don't know how to pronounce, so I'm not going to mention it. So, and then we have Unleashed. Humanity became far too comfortable with bending the world to our desires, but these advances can make us vulnerable to the extremes of nature, or we might fall victim to the terrors wrought from our attempts to play God. Examples are Zoo, The Birds, Geostorm, Dante's Peak, San Andreas, Hard Sun, The Swarm, Jurassic Park. So again, our options for the poll are extinction, mystery, singularity, and unleashed. So Desiree will put that up for us and we can vote on what theme. Because this theme is going to tell us what this whole game is going to be about. What are our junior braves going to be doing? And this can go for any. Oh, I saw a manual vote. I'll vote for you for Unleashed, Pavel the Barbarian Bard. There you go. I put in your vote for you. So this theme, even if you're not running this game, having a theme for any game that you run is important because it's going to tell you exactly what kind of game you're running. Tone is okay, are we going to be more comedic? Are we going to be more serious? Are we going to have a little bit of the two? Is it going to be drama? And then theme is the overarching concept of the game. Goldfish gamers, I'm sorry, it only allows me to do one vote. So we have mystery. Mystery's winning anyway. So let's go with mystery at 71%. Yama Toyam, I can try, but I'm probably not the best person because I don't watch a lot of films because I'm too busy playing role playing games. And that's really the honest truth. I'd rather make up my own stories than watch someone else's. Okay, so we have a mystery. So we have alternate realities, mirror universes, dimensional rifts, and surreal paradoxes might sound great to a science geek, but outside of controlled laboratory conditions, they could bring society to its knees. All right, so we have our theme. Mystery is our theme. So now we figure out our touchstones. So what are our touchstones, our media touchstones for our mystery? What kind of mystery do we have going on? So this book suggests 12 Monkeys, Nowhere Boys, Wonderland, Primeval, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, Naked Lunch, Humanity Has Declined. And to be honest, I've only ever seen Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, and I was a child, and I don't really remember it all that well. So what kind of mystery do we want? Does anyone have any suggestions of what kinds of mystery, what kind of touchstones? Because we'll vote on those. Let's work on this together. Okay, you want Naked Lunch. My thing, okay, so Naked Lunch. I've never seen Naked Lunch. Let me, well, why don't we put up that we'll do Naked Lunch and Wonderland for two of them, Desiree, because those were two that were suggested in chat. Does anyone else have anything suggested? Hello, Panda Angel. Welcome, welcome. Just the two? Okay, we have just the two. Let's vote on those two, Desiree. And then I will quickly Google both of them because Google is your friend. Don't worry if you don't know what's going on. We are prepping a game of Junior Braves to the Apocalypse, so it runs on the Kids on Bike system. And we are just getting into it. We are creating our themes, which we have chosen mystery. So now we're looking at our touchstones. What are our media touchstones? In order to vote for your media touchstone of what we're doing on, just click on the circle. It only works for desktop, unfortunately. It does not work for mobile. So we'll just give that a moment, and I will quickly. Oh, I know what Wonderland is. Isn't that one with let's see if I'm right. No, I'm not. Well then, this is a theme for kids. You know what? Sure, let's do Alice in Wonderland. Because the movie Wonderland is not appropriate. Yes, so we'll do Wonderland. So it's like an Alice in Wonderland. So in Junior Braves of the Apocalypse, what's happening is you have a bunch of kids who have gone to summer camp and they come back to their town after summer camp, and lo and behold, the apocalypse has fallen. And they have no idea what's going on. And now they have to survive using all of the skills they have learned in summer camp in this apocalypse to find a place of safety. This isn't about solving the apocalypse or fixing it to bring things back to normal, because in this game, you are playing children. And children don't necessarily know how to fix things. It's too big of a problem for them. So the whole point of this is they're trying to find safety. Okay, so we have Wonderland. So let's. So now that we have our touchstones and we understand that we are going to be doing, I'm also going to say, so we have Wonderland, and I think another one that's very similar to Wonderland would be Labyrinth, or Mirror Mask. Any of those types of stories where you have a young protagonist and they appear in this place that is very strange, very bizarre, and it's very different. So our theme for our apocalypse is the world has gone a bit topsy turvy, and reality is a little bit different than what it used to be. So now that brings us then to what is the trigger of the apocalypse. I always have to make sure I'm spelling that properly. So there's this point You probably did the theme and figured out your touchstones and your tone and everything with your players. And that would have been part of your session 0. So now at this point, this is you doing stuff on your own because you don't want to give away any of this other information to your players right away because you want them to discover them in the story. And this is a mystery, so they need to discover the mystery. So at this point, by yourself, we want to do this by yourself. So we want to find the trigger, and I know this is on page 62, so I can find it again. Page 62. So the trigger. So what is the trigger? What caused to happen to create this apocalypse? What is going on in our town to have created this apocalypse? What has made the world topsy-turvy? And Vry 1112, yes, there is an adult figure in this book. That is a character that everyone creates together, and is always going to be with your junior braves. Night sky crashes into the landscape, making perpetual twilight. Ooh, so there's an option. We have twilight. But what caused that night sky to crash into the twilight? What have humans or an extra force? Yes, Goldfinch gamers, it is like the power character in Kids on Bikes. So, what has caused this night sky to crash into the landscape? I really like that. So, what is going on here? Is this a technological thing that happened? Is it a natural occurrence? Did something happen in the universe where the sky decided to fall? What happened here? Killer sentient toupees. I mean, in order for the someone, oh, that's hilarious. Ooh, now we're really getting matrixy here. With Yamatoyam said, scientists invented an extremely powerful magnet, not aware that the sky is a facade. Alien initiated to destroy a failing planet. Ooh. Someone is messing with an old artifact. Okay, so why don't we say facade as one of the options, aliens as an option, and an artifact. And we'll use those three, and we can vote on that to see which one it will be. I have like 4 monitors going on, and I'm not usually used to this, so if I'm looking in weird directions, I'm sorry. Okay, so we have a manual vote for facade. I'll put that in for you. Looks like artifact is, oh, we got a tie right now. Someone break that tie. Break the tie. Yeah, there we go. Oh, no, we're tied again. It looks like artifact is winning. It's really close. Oh, no, we're at facade again. Wow. Maybe. Chevco, you can vote if you're on desktop. Just click on the circle. If you are on mobile, unfortunately, it does not work for mobile. That might be why. Okay, I think that's long enough. I think facade won. But you know what? We can... Oh, there is a delayed chip code. Don't worry. It doesn't show up immediately. It went through as soon as you clicked it. Okay, so facade 1. We can close that poll. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Since everyone really seems Pavel the Barbarian Bard, that is what I was wondering. Since everyone decided, since it was kind of going back and forth, and Adelaide Ambex, do you need to have the Kids on Bikes rulebook to play this game? No, you don't. It has its own rulebook. And again, it's quite short. It's under 100 pages. It looks bigger because this is a hardcover version, but it's quite slender, very similar to how Kids on Bikes is slender. So it's a very easy game to get into. Okay, so now we have the trigger of the apocalypse. We had a magnet. That's a magnate. A magnet artifact that pulled down the sky. A facade. Okay. You're welcome. Okay, so then that brings us to the fun part. This is my favorite part. Troubles. So in this game, you should have 1 trouble per player. So we're going to say we have 5 players, so we'll have 5 troubles. So these troubles are elements that would go into creating problems for your braves, for your player characters. These troubles are going to, this is on page 63 if you do have the book. They're the things that get in the way, and that your braves have to overcome. And they cause a bit of drama sometimes. And they're often extraordinary things. And don't try to make them too mundane, because a lot of things, like if you choose something like scarcity, something is scarce. Saying food, just food in general. I mean, that's an okay trouble, but it's not out of the ordinary, since the scouts already know how to find food, right? Like, these are scouts who know how to forage. These are scouts who know how to make snares. So they can find their own. So what it would be, if you want to be, okay, there's a food shortage. Well, what about if there was a shortage of tinned foods? That's an interesting one. So don't make it broad. We want to dial it down. So some examples of these, and I'm watching chat to see what people are suggesting, but I'm going to read some of the suggestions in the book, but we can do whatever we want. Amnesia, anarchy, anomalies, blackouts, brainwashing, corrosion, corruption, extremists, hallucinations, imposters, infections, infestation, looters, manipulation, monsters, nightmares, prophecies, scarcity, storms, surveillance, toxicity, and traitors. I think maybe we should keep looters out of it, just for current situation, because we don't need more of that. We're trying to escape. It's fantasy. Okay. So I'm looking here. No electricity. Potential trouble. Ooh, loss of smell. I like it. Traders. A magnetic anomaly rendering compass useless. Well, yeah, like, too, that would be interesting, because if the sky has fallen and Yeah. That might be interesting. Okay, so let's see. I like loss of smell. That's cool. Um, no internet, no electricity, blackout. These are junior braves. They don't need the internet. They know how to function and shoot archery things. Um, so let's okay, for our poll, we don't need to do a poll. Everyone has we need 5 of these. So we have traders. I like traders. Who are they traders to? That's what I want to know. Um, a magnetic anomaly. Well, good thing if I could spell. What else are we gonna say here? Yeah, because the sky, there's a lot of like radiation in space, right? So if that, dun dun dun, radiation from space, I like it. We need 2 more, 2 more. Come on, people. Keep those coming. I love these ideas so much. They're so good. More, 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 more. Oh, traders from a rival group that have infiltrated the group of kids. I think actually that might be a good idea of a group of traders are trying to infiltrate the kids. And can the kids figure it out? That's something that'd be fun for an actual session. So we have traders, magnetic anomaly rendering compasses useless, radiation from space. Oh, I like the growing cult. Cult. One more, one more, one more. We're gonna stay away from curfews. I think that's a little too real right now. Um, one more. How about nightmares? People get really bad nightmares, and I think a lot of that has to do. They're all kind of connected with the sky, because Dreamland's in the sky, right? The silver spoon ran away and jumped over the moon, all that stuff. So we've got traders, a magnetic anomaly rendering compasses useless, radiation from space, cult, and nightmares. So now, and this is another fun part which I get excited about because I love creating issues. Because the whole point of GMing is creating scenarios and issues for your players to solve and then to create that story together. And so this is the meat and potatoes that I really like to bite into. So we've got our troubles. Now, what are the specifics? Who are the traders? Who are the traders? Because we need to define who these traders are. Who are they betraying? Are we content? Are we happy with traders trying to infiltrate the children, the group? But to what end? What is it that they're trying to do? The traders need to be an outside force that interact with the Braves, and that the Braves, their player characters, are going to have to navigate around. Because remember, a trouble isn't something that they can necessarily fix because you're playing children. So if you can't fix it, you're going to have to navigate around it. You're going to have to get around them and overcome them in some way in order to continue on. Okay, so all right, so family members, or is this radiation causing people to betray each other? Cult recruiters, we have a friend of the adult. Infiltrate is good, maybe to seize resources or shelter. Good trader would be someone close to one of the characters, like an uncle who is mad about it. Yeah. So we could just say traders are people who are scared. Scared people who suffer from nightmares. How's that? That works. They're scared people, and these people can be anyone. And because they're scared, they might betray you. So this whole apocalypse has created people who are in it for themselves, which is unfortunate. Yeah, they're afraid the nightmares will come true. That's a good one, Goldfinch Gamers. Mhm. Okay. The people could be related to the children. They could be just other people from town. It could be the librarian. It could be the gym teacher. It could be anyone they know. And it can cause, and that will create some tension and a little bit of healthy paranoia in your players, because once it comes out as you start to play this game, because remember, you're not telling the players what the troubles are, right? They're going to discover this, and as they're betrayed, and then maybe if they're betrayed again, oh, your players are going to be healthy and a little bit distrustful, which will create some added tension. And remember, tension is good in games. You need that tension, because it's all about overcoming that tension and working together and collaboratively so that your PCs can continue on. Okay, so that's good. We've got that. Let me roll this down a little bit so we can see everything here. All right. So now what is the magnetic anomaly rendering compasses useless? What exactly is going on here? And how is that going to affect? Okay, a meteorite. That's a good one. It came from space. Yeah. Okay, I'm seeing a theme here. Ooh, an EMP field from a generating station. Ooh, like it. Shift in magnetic pole. Yeah. Ooh, this is fun. I love it. You guys see, you you may have never GM'd something before. You're coming up with great ideas, and I think you should do it because this is wonderful. Okay, so we have a shift in the magnetic pole. Because the sky fell down. This is Chicken Little all over. Okay, so we have the shift in the magnetic pole. And now we have radiation from space. So what exactly is going on here? Is it an asteroid that fell that caused the shift in the magnetic pole, and then it in and of itself might have some radiation on it? And with the sky down, radiation is coming in from stars because now they're closer with the sky in on us and we don't have a nice layer. A biomechanical device from space. I got you, Goldfinch Gamers. I understood. Okay. Maybe a satellite crashed? Ooh. Was the satellite human? Or was it something else? Thank you, Am Caldwell. To be determined. Yeah. So, but that's something we need to know. A UFO. Something we need to know as the GM of what's going on. It'll be to be determined for the players, but we need to know what's going on there. So a UFO, we have a satellite, a biomechanical device. That, well, I mean, a UFO could be biomechanical. Isn't the ship from Star Trek Voyager has those biopacks, biocells. And yes, it is twilight everywhere. JST 1066. 1066. War of the Roses. Or no, was that 1066 was William the Conqueror, wasn't it? Okay, so what if it's one of the new SpaceX satellites? Ooh. That will root it into the real world. Okay, well, let's say a satellite. Farscape. Yes, it was a living ship. You know, that's a show that I tried to get in, and I think you need to watch it from the beginning to really understand exactly what's going on. Because whenever I watched it at the time, I bartended, so I would watch it like in the wee hours of the morning after I got home from my shift, and I never really understood what was going on. So I think I would like it, but I need to start from the beginning for that. Okay. Yes, Pavel the Barbarian Bard. This is a situation you can send out your players for and see which they find more interesting. Make the decision on the fly. 100%. And in fact, what I love about this game is it talks about um, you have a piece of paper in the center of the table, and every time a player mentions like an idea in character or out of character, like, oh, you know, what if it was like an alien satellite, or what the characters are talking about, maybe it's alien, you write it down and everyone can see those ideas that you write down. And then you can take from your players' ideas and weave them into the story. And then that's what truly makes it collaborative. And it also takes the work off of you because now everyone's working and joining together. Um, so that is something. So we could say it's a satellite, human or not. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. So I have two mice here because I'm using a laptop and my computer, and I keep on grabbing the wrong mouse. Okay. So now we have a cult. Who is this cult? What is this cult's mandate? What are they trying to achieve? What are they doing? And why are they an issue or an obstacle to our PCs? Okay, we have a religious cult to get everyone to buy used cars. I mean, yeah, that's great. But I mean, the apocalypse has happened, and I doubt people are buying cars. I mean, maybe people could be buying cars in this apocalypse. They worship the twilight and think this is a good thing. Yeah, that's very Fallout. Isn't was that which one? Which Fallout was that? And there was the cult of the mega bomb that was stuck in the center of town. that was in the middle of, all I remember is every time I got near it. Yeah, Fallout 3. Every time I got near it, I got radiation sickness. Worshippers of the satellite. Subservience to a revealed power. Okay, yeah, let's do a poll for this because this is fun. Okay. Yes, the PC's parents could join the cult. That would be a great way to, at first session or even a couple sessions, trying to convince your parents to get out of the cult. That would be lovely. Well, lovely in the sense it'd be engaging and thrilling for the players because there's such a human connection for them. But let's talk about, we've got worshippers. So we'll say satellite for one of them. We'll say twilight for another one. And yeah, let's go with those two main ones. And let's vote on that. Oh yeah, Ninja Knot, worshippers of the satellite and trying to protect it at all costs. That could make things interesting because if they're trying to keep people away from it and other people can't study it to try to figure out what's going on, that could cause some serious problems. So we'll just give that a minute for that vote. I'm loving these ideas. I got in a manual vote for satellite for all of you. I can only do the one. Unfortunately, it only lets me do one, but I put in one for satellite. And it looks like satellite's like, with chat, with all those manual votes, and with 70% in the thing, it looks looking like satellite's winning. They worship the satellite. Oh. Worship the satellite and want to protect it at all costs. All right, so now, oh, it'd be good if I clicked the right button. Nightmares. So, what is the nightmare from? What's causing the nightmares? What is happening with these nightmares? That's the voice of Desiree, everyone. Desiree's running our tech. Say hi, Desiree.
Hello. Sorry, I had to switch my mic on so they could actually hear me.
No worries. Okay, so it's messing with the brain chemistry. The twilight is causing it. Electrical signal from the satellite causing nightmares to manifest. That's interesting. The pole shift is causing it. Ooh, the nightmare started when the satellite hit, and the nightmares are starting to bleed into the real world. That's terrifying. Changes the tides, changes dreams. Okay, so spicy food nightmares. Those can be nightmarish if you, especially if you have them a little too late. Okay, so why don't we have a poll for satellite, twilight, and the pole shift? Oh, that is a good M. Caldwell. That's a good question. So their question was, did the cult know about the satellite beforehand, or did the cult form after the crash? That is interesting. Did they cause the crash? That's a question I would keep open. Um, they could have, and it might be interesting to see what your players latch onto, and see what they're suggesting or what they're thinking, and kind of going along with that as they talk. Just because that adds fun. Or if you they could be thinking one thing that's completely different, and then you just kind of weave it into what they're thinking in a interesting way. Okay, so we've got Twilight and Satellite are tied at 40. Um let's get a tiebreaker. Someone click it. Oh, we got a tiebreaker. We have Twilight winning at 50% and Satellite at 33. Okay. Oh, its Satellite's going up a bit. No, it went down a bit. Twilight's winning, I think, at 56%. We've got a winner. The Twilight is causing it. How is the Twilight causing? So, because that's a question that we should know. What is the Twilight doing to cause the nightmares? Is it the lack of sun? It's causing people to be a bit upset about? What is happening? I'm gonna scroll up and chat because I know there were some ideas here. Yeah, there's no definitive day and night serotonin imbalance. My first thought was lack of sun. I think maybe it is. What about, here's an idea, just because there are places here on our planet who have like daylight and sunlight and like nighttime at the poles, right? Um, People live through this, and I don't know if it's reported that they have lots of nightmares simply because they live up north or extreme south. So what if is Twilight is causing the nightmares because of the radiation? It's blocking out the sun.
A vitamin D deficiency?
Vitamin D
Or, yeah,
deficiency.
vitamin D.
Yeah, people are becoming irritable, and so they're having nightmares. And it might have something to do with the radiation that's coming from space or the satellite as well. Light from Twilight is altering brain chemistry. Okay. I mean, that's interesting. Why don't we do a poll for that? Um we'll do brain chemistry. Is that too many extremes? He's extreme sad.
I
Um
can do brain for sure.
okay, brain. Yeah, cuz it only allows a certain amount of characters for the poll. So we could do brain, ESAD, I guess. ESAD, we can have. Oh, the moon could be tide locked. That's interesting. How it affects dreams, who knows? This is space and radiation and weirdness. We're in Wonderland. Doesn't have to make full sense. It just has to make sense in our universe. Okay, why don't we leave it at those three?
Okay, so I have brain, ESAD, and what was the last one?
Um, tide locked. Moon. Let's see. Well, the moon seems to be doing well at the beginning. We've got brain chemistry, extreme sadness, or the moon is tide locked. That would be terrifying, Am Caldwell. That would be terrifying. Because my dreams, I don't know about anyone else, but my dreams, I have epic dreams. I think it's because I play so many RPGs. So I'm always thinking about adventures, and so my dreams are often just utterly like me, like fighting things and running around, clambering through ruins. Okay, so it's looking like the moon is winning. So we'll go with the moon. Dun dun dun. Am Caldwell. For people who aren't watching chat, they said, since no one else is, I'll be that guy. That's no moon. Oh, lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming's fun. I can only do it sometimes, and that's when I'm just about to kind of wake up. And that's when I get to have fun in my adventure dreams and get to do cool things. That's when I defeat the bad person. Okay, so we have our troubles. We have the triggers. We have our theme. We are good. So, this brings us. Well, I know I said a bad person because I didn't want to say bad guy because they could be any gender. So I said person. Okay. So now we want to ask some important questions because these important questions are going to determine a lot of stuff. And there is in the back of the book two examples of what a scenario or session could be at the very back of this book. But each one of them, this is it. That's the entire session or scenario right here. Just 2 pages. So that jam prep doesn't need to be hours long. It can be pretty simple. Okay. So we have some important questions. So what are some main questions that we want the Braves to answer in this? What is it that the Braves are trying to get answers to? Because this is going to guide us in the direction of the scenario. And yes, Adelaide Ambex, it does walk you through the same process we've just done. I'm just following the process of the game. This is the same for Kids on Bikes. This is the same for Teens in Space. And this will be the same type of way to walk through Kids on Brooms. Now, each of them are themed, so it's not going to be triggers of the apocalypse and stuff, but it's very similar things. Just the wording is different and the theme is different, but it works all the same way. It's all kids on bikes system. The cause of the radiation. So, what is the cause of the radiation? We have, what is the origin of the satellite? do the Braves meet the cult? M. Caldwell asks, so the idea is that the sky is a facade. Do the players know this at the beginning, or is it something to find out? I think it is definitely something to find out. Well, if the sky is a facade, what is a facade to? What's behind it? What's going on? How do we navigate the new world? Yes. Okay, I think we got 5 questions here, and those are some great starting questions. I want to play this story too, M. Caldwell. Yeah, they were camping. They were at summer camp, and they came back to find everything. Woo! Okay, so now we just come up with 2 paragraphs to create a synopsis, just for our reference. So, if the player lives are over, can they see a higher sentient being that can answer their questions? I mean, that's up to you as the GM. Is that something that you want to do? That's something you can add to the game if that's something you and your players want. Okay, so we have a synopsis. So what happened? We talked about SpaceX. So SpaceX, we'll call it Space S for copyright reasons. Space S. Space S launched their newest satellite. Two weeks ago. Too much attention and applause. This satellite. What is the purpose of this satellite? What is the purpose of this satellite? What did this satellite do? Dun, dun, dun. What does this satellite do? It needs to be more important than a cell phone tower. The car Elon Musk launched into space came back, and it wasn't empty. Oh, it was supposed to go terraform Mars. I like it. Oh, this satellite was supposed to terra. You know what? Let's make it the moon, because if the moon, the tides are moon locked, and we've got the sky. Yeah. Form the moon. But it fell back to the earth, causing catastrophic changes in the pole alignment. That's ridiculous, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Pole alignment. Twilight fell. Okay. Twilight fell. And the nightmares began. And that's our synopsis. We have our adventure now. So that was that's it. We've got our adventure. We have together in what? In just over an hour, we have our entire adventure planned out for our characters, because what the players are going to be doing, they're all going to be interacting with them, and you just kind of end up making this story together. So that's what's so great about these systems, is you don't need to do lots and lots of prep and puzzles and all those things, because your players are going to essentially create them for you. You just kind of guide them through them. Okay, so I think I have about 5, 6, or 7 minutes to answer some questions. If anyone has any questions, we can open up the floor. And yes, Goldfish gamers, this is as easy with kids on bikes as well. There is actually, I did something very similar for with Renegade on the kids on bikes. I did a jam prep kids on bikes video. You can find that on our YouTube channel. It's there, and if you want, you can watch that video, which is just me running through kids on bikes exactly in the same way. Any other questions? I've been GMing for quite a long time, so I can give you some advice. Can characters die? If so, what happens from there? Reroll, most things shy from kids dying. Yes, these kids don't die. You're not putting them in you're putting them in situations where there's tension and things can happen, but they're not going to die. That's something that's explicitly stated in Kids and Bikes, is they don't die. They essentially fall unconscious. So what are the risks? Well, risks can be all sorts of things. I mean, we're having nightmares. So what kind of trauma can those create? There are a lot of risks that can happen that aren't life or death. Like we talked about before, their parents could be part of the cult, or their uncle could be a traitor. So the risk is losing a family member to this. So that's serious stuff. So you can still have a lot of serious risk. You can have a lot of tension. You can, like we said in this, you can have that paranoia, that distrust. So what does that do to a person? So those are the types of risks you deal with in a game like this, where player characters do not die. And yes, there is a happy ending. Again, the kids themselves can't solve the apocalypse because they're kids. But they can find a place of refuge. They can find a place where people are working towards getting this fixed and have like a bit of a safe place. So you can always have it for them going there. Um, well, I think that's it for questions we have from people. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us, and I hope this was you learned something and learned that GMing is not scary. I mean, it can be scary because it's something new that you haven't done before, but it can be very rewarding, and it doesn't have to involve a huge amount of prep, and it doesn't have to be terrifying. You can just have a lot of fun with it. I had a lot of fun with this. So again, thank you everyone for joining us. Stick around because we've got so much content for you. And remember, play your game.